News in the global village.
And now, with the main news bulletin, this is Grace Msimuko.
Good afternoon. This is 5FM Main News. The headlines. A climate-smart agriculturist calls on district agriculture coordinators to assist farmers redeem their inputs on time. Over 1,000 desks valued at over 2 million kwacha handed over to 12 schools in Chirundu district. At least 7 swept away by flooded river in Kenya. This bulletin is also streaming live on our Facebook page, 5FM Radio Zambia, and on our YouTube channel. The details. Climate-smart agriculturist Oliver Bulaya has noted that some farmers are facing challenges in redeeming their inputs on the Farmer Input Support Program, FISP, now at the expense of planting. He has called on the district agriculture coordinator, DACO, to help quicken the pace to allow farmers do the planting on time. Dr. Bulaya has charged that FISP is not serving its intended purpose to uplift the status of the smallholder farmers because of flaws in the administration of the program. Dr. Bulaya has therefore advised the government to scrape off the program if the efficiency of the program cannot be improved. He says the agriculture sector can be more meaningful if programs are directed towards lowering the production cost in terms of seed and fertilizer so that farmers at large can buy these commodities on their own.
The government promised the people of Zambia for early distribution of imports. They did their part, but we still have farmers redeeming the vouchers, others in the process of getting the imports now on the expense of planting. The DACO's offices are overwhelmed with farmers in most districts and provinces all over the country. Let them quicken the pace to allow farmers to do the planting. Delays affects the yield potential in case of farmers missing the first important planting rains. And in this case, we suggest that input distribution at the district level must begin as early as August.
A team of officers from the Department of Immigration, Drug Enforcement Commission and the National Anti-Terrorism Center has apprehended 4 Zambians in connection with a suspected case of smuggling or trafficking of 30 suspected Ethiopians and 13 suspected Somali nationals in Kasama district. Confirming the development of 5FM News, Immigration Public Relations Officer Namatin Shinka explains that the operation is connected to and was a continuation of the operation in which the Lusaka Regional Immigration Office on 22nd November 2023 apprehended 4 Zambians in another suspected migrant smuggling case involving 16 suspected Ethiopian nationals found in a gazebo in Silver Rest. Mr. Nshinka says the operation was conducted from 22nd to 23rd November 2023 and was instigated by a report from a concerned owner of a named car hire company when the vehicle tracking system on one of the vehicles he had hired out flagged some suspicious movements.
The team in the process also impounded 2 white Toyota Fortuners registration numbers BAT and BAT 4260 used in transporting the undocumented immigrants. The Kasama operation brought the number of persons apprehended on 23rd November 2023 to 65. On the same day, the department also secured 19 convictions and removed 8 illegal immigrants from the country. The department has noted with concern the worrying trend in which traffickers and smugglers are hiring motor vehicles to commit crimes.
The United Prosperous and Peaceful Zambia has condemned the recent tragic incident in which a 15-year-old boy lost his life due to a shooting by a Zambia National Service officer. Party leader Charles Chanda says while it is important to pay respect to the deceased and honor their memory, it is incumbent upon the society to question why such acts of violence keep recurring, leaving the nation in shock and sorrow. Mr. Chanda said this incident is reminiscent of previous instances, including the shooting of another child during the previous regime era, as well as the tragic loss of Nsama Nsama during a police operation. He has further raised concern over the criteria used in issuance of firearms by the law enforcement officers and has called for a thorough review and evaluation of the processes involved in arming the men and women in uniform.
While it is important to pay respect to the deceased and honor their memory, it is incumbent upon us as a society to question why such acts of violence keep recurring, leaving our beloved nation in a shock and sorrow. This incident reminds us of what happened during the days of PF. The greatest question is, what criteria is used in the issuance of firearms to our law enforcement officers?
The Chirundu Town Council in Southern Province has handed over a total of 1,510 desks valued at over 2 million kwacha to 12 schools in the district. Council Secretary Embassy Chembo said that this has been financially supported by the 2022 and 2023 Constituency Development Fund, CDF, to ensure that no child sits on the floor as they attend education. Mr. Chembo said this is in line with President Hakainde Hichilema's directive that no child should sit on the floor whilst acquiring education. He said this instruction is also aimed at empowering small businesses such as carpentry and welding, as the desks are to be made locally, opposed to being imported. Mr. Chembo expressed commitment towards government's policy to supply desks around the constituency in order to cater for all school-going children. This is according to a statement issued by Chirundu Town Council Public Relations Officer Nakubiana Shabongo. In other news trending this afternoon, Rhone Member of Parliament Joel Chibuye has revealed that government through the Ministry of Water and Sanitation has started installing new sewer pipelines in his constituency. The Medical for Quality Health Care in Zambia says the suspension of the 2023 recruitment exercise of health workers by government will slightly affect the delivery of services in the health facilities across the country. Up next, business news.
From Radio Business News, we mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed about business.
Economist Emmanuel Zulu says that the decision by the Bank of Zambia to increase the monetary policy rate to 11% will discourage productivity in the economy. Bank of Zambia Governor Denny Kalialia has announced the upward adjustment of the monetary policy rate to 11% from 10% due to the projected inflation, which is moving away from the projected 6 to 8% band, which, if left unchecked, would be anchored at above target levels, thereby making management of the macro economy challenging. Speaking to 5FM News, Mr. Zulu says that the increased monetary policy rates will trigger an increase in the cost of borrowing and interest rates, thereby discouraging the private sector as they will not be able to access cheaper capital. Mr. Zulu further says that this decision will lead to a lot of job losses due to their fewer activities in the economy to support growth.
We've never seen such an increment. That entails that now we will see the interest rates rising above 10%, and that is a bit worrying because Zambia is still a growing economy, and we have a number of SMEs, private sector players that may need to access capital for business purposes. So this means that the cost of borrowing will increase, and will have a discouraged private sector that will not be able to access cheaper capital.
In foreign news, at least 7 people are feared dead after they were swept away by a flooded river in southeastern Kenya. A local chief said they were sitting on a log in the middle of the river as they tried to cross when the flood waters rose and took them away. The group was returning to their homes in Makueni, County after meeting First Lady Rachel Ruto in Nairobi. Kenya, as well as neighboring Somalia and Ethiopia, are grappling with the worst flooding in recent history. A roundup from the BBC.
North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un has described his country's launch of a spy satellite this week as an assertion of its right to self-defense. He made a visit to the National Space Agency to applaud the scientists and technicians who worked on the project. The launch prompted international condemnation. The South African former Paralympian star Oscar Pistorius will attend a parole hearing today in a prison just outside Pretoria, where he is serving 13 years for murder. The athlete was jailed for killing his partner, Reva Steenkamp, a decade ago. Her mother is not opposing his release, but a victim impact statement will be read out on her behalf. A court in Qatar has accepted Delhi's appeal against death sentences handed down to 8 former Indian naval officers last month. It said the next hearing would be held soon. All 8 were working in the Gulf state. They were sentenced to death in October on charges that haven't been made public. India has described the ruling as deeply shocking.
In sports news, it may still be early in the season, but Harry Kane's record-breaking beginning at Bayern Munich gives him a great start to become England's only second European Golden Shoe winner. The European Golden Shoe is awarded to the top scorer in any of Europe's top flights in a season, but there is a caveat. The goals are weighed so players in the top 5 European leagues see their goals count double. The leagues are ranked 6th to 22nd are at 1.5 times, and the lower ranked division players' goals count just once. And now the weather.
Class Econ Roofing Africa. Class Econ Roofing, plot 17100 off Katanga Road, 150 meters from Mumbwa Road, Chinika Industrial Area, Lusaka. Class Econ Roofing. Class plus economy. Class Econ. Class Econ Roofing Africa. Class Econ.
Northwestern, Copperbelt, Wapula, Northern, Muchinga, and Eastern provinces, including the northern parts of Western, eastern parts of Central provinces, partly cloudy, slightly windy and warm to hot, with isolated thunder showers. Maximum temperatures will range between 30 degrees centigrade and 36 degrees centigrade. The evening will be partly cloudy, slightly windy and warm to mild with isolated rain and thunder. Southern, Lusaka, and Central provinces, including the southern parts of Western parts of Central provinces, partly cloudy, slightly windy and warm to hot, with a chance of thunder showers. Maximum temperatures will range between 32 degrees centigrade and 39 degrees centigrade. That weather forecast brings us to the end of the news. Before we go, a recap of the top stories. A climate-smart agriculture risk calls on district agriculture coordinators to assist farmers redeem their inputs on time. Over 1,000 desks valued at over 2 million kwacha handed over to 12 schools in Chirundu district. At least 7 swept away by flooded river in Kenya. For these and more stories, you can follow us on Facebook, 5FM Radio Zambia, or on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news crew and the technical department, thank you for listening to the happy world of 5FM Radio. Stay safe and stay tuned to 5FM Radio. My name is Grace Msimuko. Do have a safe and blessed weekend.